Welcome to Please Me, the award-winning bilingual podcast bringing you bold conversations and big clit energy. Sí, Please Me se puede ver con subtítulos en español. I'm Eve, your host, on a journey from trauma to sexual liberation. Join me and my guests as we dive into conversations around orgasm equality, self-love, body positivity, and essential sexual education. Let's reclaim pleasure and close the orgasm gap, one empowering conversation at a time. Last week, I spoke with Kels and Tess from Porn Nerds about reframing how we see porn as a tool to deepen intimacy, spark desire, and open real conversations about what we want in the bedroom. The chat was so juicy, I brought them back for part 2 today, so make sure you catch the first episode to fully dive into this ongoing, sex-positive conversation. I'm beyond thrilled and deeply honored to be nominated for 2 ASN awards. The categories are Best Educator and Best Educator Website, so be sure to check out my website for powerful educational resources, my go-to wellness products, and a beautifully curated sex toy shop designed with your pleasure and health in mind. You can vote daily, so check the show notes to cast your vote and help me bring these wins home. I'm truly grateful and thank you for your continued support. Did you know that podcasts rely on listener support to keep bringing you the content you love? For the best way to support the show, join me on Patreon for ad-free listening, early releases, bonus episodes, and exclusive content. Please Me is for mature audiences. Sit back, relax, and surrender to the pleasure of Please Me.
You grow up, you become sexual, and you see it all around you, but there's not a lot of conversation about sex. You assume that you should just know what you're doing, snap into action and be good at it and be like super hot and please your partner and just know what to do intrinsically. But I think internally, a lot of us, even into our adulthoods after we've been sexual for a long time, are like looking around, am I doing this right? And so I love what you say about making the sheets our bedroom.
ASN Lifestyle Magazine is your go-to source for sex-positive, sophisticated content covering everything from the swinger lifestyle and adult entertainment to intimacy, wellness, and more. You can read every digital issue for free, and subscribers get access to exclusive content. See the show notes for the link to subscribe and check out their Instagram. I'm excited to share that I now have a monthly column in ASN called Big Clit Energy, a Please Me series. Don't miss it and subscribe today.
Meta AI is the personal AI to help you with whatever you need. Plus, it meets you where you are. Not only is Meta AI now an app, but it's also on the apps you already know and love. Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Messenger. Plus the Ray-Ban Meta glasses. It's easy to access wherever you are. So whether you're talking or texting, Meta AI is convenient to use throughout your day. Experience our newest AI that's tailored to you by downloading the Meta AI app. Try the Meta AI app today on the Apple App Store and Google Play.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Got a car to sell but no time to waste? Hop on to Carvana.com to get a real offer for your car in seconds. All you have to do is enter your license plate, answer a few quick questions, and if you accept the offer, Carvana will pay you as soon as you hand the keys over. They even offer same-day pickup in many cities. Save your time, score some cash, and sell your car the convenient way to Carvana. Pickup times vary. Fees may apply.
Choice Hotels get you more for your money so you can maximize any road trip. Let's get real close to hear the maximum sizzle of Comfort Inn's free hot breakfast. Maximized. Check into more. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
Your burger is served, and this is our finest Pepsi Zero Sugar. Its sweet profile perfectly balances the savory notes of your burger.
That is one perfect combination. Burgers deserve Pepsi.
This podcast is supported by Progressive, a leader in RV insurance. RVs are for sharing adventures with family, friends, and even your pets. So if you bring your cats and dogs along for the ride, you'll want Progressive RV insurance. They protect your cats and dogs like family by offering up to $1,000 in optional coverage for vet bills in case of an RV accident, making it a great companion for the responsible pet owner who loves to travel. See Progressive's other benefits and more when you quote RV insurance at Progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Pet injuries and additional coverage and subject to policy terms.
Hello, and welcome to Please Me, the podcast that aims to destigmatize conversations about sex and sexual health by turning the sheets into our classroom. Today, I'm so excited to welcome back on the show, Kels and Tess. So excited to welcome them back on the show for part 2 of this episode. And we had such a fun conversation last week, and we are going to continue the conversation this week on the show. And we are talking about porn. And they created a podcast called Porn Nerds. And they're going to be on here talking more about porn and all of the good and the bad and the ugly. And so welcome you guys to the show again. And thanks for being on.
Thank you. It's so nice to be back.
Yes. The dream.
We had such a fun role play last week, and I cannot wait to have our next role play. It's going to be really spicy. And so we talked about a whole bunch of different things regarding porn, but there were so many questions that I had for you guys that I knew that this was going to have to be a 2-part episode. So we talked about your platform, the Squirmy platform. Can you just remind me what that is again? Because I want to know what it means to you to get squirmy.
Yes. So yes, Squirm is the umbrella, and we chose that name because it can encompass kind of everything. The yikes, so squirmy. I feel so uncomfortable having this conversation or doing this thing, and also I'm squirming on the bed because I'm so turned on and I'm wet and I'm writhing around on the mattress, right? So we're gonna think about it as the whole spectrum of and insert orgasm noise there. Yeah. So I think that's what getting squirmy can mean. But really the foundational mission of Squirm, initially we've expanded a bit, was focusing in on the topic of talking about sex and getting more comfortable talking about it. So that's with partners, with friends, societally, and also internal dialogue surrounding sex. And yeah, that's, I think, so most commonly I'll refer to getting squirmy in my personal life of, oh, I know I need to have this conversation and it makes me feel a little uncomfortable. But I also know that means it's probably important and it's beautiful.
I just think the two sides of squirm that she described, the yikes, so squirmy, uncomfortable, and the oh, so hot, squirm, so good. In that example, this is a conversation that I know I need to have and I don't really feel ready. I'm not sure what to say. So often having that conversation and being vulnerable with someone and saying the hard thing can transform an experience from yikes, so uncomfortable to oh, I feel so good and connected. So there's this kind of point A to point B with squirm. Sometimes, not always. Sometimes it's just a hard conversation and you walk away feeling really uncomfortable. But often that vulnerability that you share with someone, that can help bring that ooey gooey, more connected squirminess to conversation or a relationship.
And I love the go ahead.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Are you sure? One quick one.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I was just thinking when you were doing your intro, making the bedroom, the sheets our classroom. Is that how you say it? Is that how you say it?
Yes.
I think that sex is one of these really unique areas where you grow up, you become sexual and you see it all around you, but there's not a lot of conversation about sex. So you assume that you should just know what you're doing, snap into action and be good at it and be super hot and please your partner and just know what to do intrinsically. But I think internally, a lot of us, even into our adulthoods after we've been sexual for a long time, are looking around, am I doing this right? And so I love what you say about making the sheets our bedroom. And I think this also ties into the squirminess. When you are a beginner or learning something or going into some kind of novel experience, it's going to feel a little uncomfortable. You might feel like you're bad at something. And there's a lot of power in embracing the vulnerability of that and just saying, I don't really know, but I want to find out. And I'm going to be present and maybe feel a little shaky in the process. I think that can be really hot and expansive.
I love the definition and the two definitions because it's not just one thing. And I love that it can be an uncomfortable conversation. And yes, we all have to have those squirmy conversations to get to the other side. But I love the definition where you're feeling turned on and you're ooh, yeah, so that was something that I wasn't anticipating. So I love that you're connecting the two. And when it comes to podcasting, I just think it's so amazing that you can create something like a podcast that's going to lead you to so many other things. And Squirm is that umbrella that sort of houses everything. And I too have that as well with e-creations. And I do webinars. I have a group called Please Me Help Collective where I do webinars. And I also have events. And there's like just so many things that sort of branch off that you really weren't anticipating. And it just becomes this amazing media company that is a beautiful thing. And we really need all of it. Yeah. We need to be able to see it in written form. We need to be able to see it in podcasts. We need to be able to read books about it. So it's really great that you are really expanding your platform and creating that. I recently just started writing an article for ASN magazine, which is an e-magazine. It's an adult lifestyle magazine. And I have a column, and May will be my second column that I write. And so it's just amazing how like this sort of opens the door to so many other things. So congratulations on your platform.
Thank you. And likewise, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to read it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, you'll have to get on the newsletter. You'll have to get on the email list so that I can send it out to you for sure. And if anyone out there is listening and wants to be on my email list, be sure to go to Please Me Online, which is up there still. And you can go to the contacts page and send me a note on the contacts page that goes directly to my email. And then I will add you to the list to get the newsletter. What are some reasons why people like to watch porn? What is it that draws them to it?
Yeah, that's a good one. I think there are a lot of reasons why we want to tune into something that's like different from our current reality, or whether that's like general reality or this moment in time and place reality. I think porn for a lot of people is a sexy escape. It's a way to immerse yourself in a different sexual fantasy or sexual scene, and that just being able to like turn off your current day, your current reality, and tune into something else is really healthy for a lot of us. We do that with books. We want to just immerse into someone else's narrative, and I think porn can be that. I think it is also, we're so fascinated with sex. Like people are so curious and fascinated with sex, right? And so when you offer billions of hours of content of people having sex, like people are just going to want to watch it because they're curious about what's there, even if it's not like this intentional, okay, I'm like doing some self-care or masturbating, whatever, and I want to go and have the sexy experience. It's just, what are they doing in that room? That's crazy. I've never seen that before. So I think it like scratches this sex curiosity itch for a lot of people. And I think it also it's not that different from the curiosity thing, but I think it also just gives us that sort of supplanted sex ed that a lot of people didn't get, when we are all looking around and wondering if what I'm doing is normal or what are they doing over there. It's like this way of getting information on this topic that we don't talk about very openly, and trying to make sure that we're all kind of like doing it right. And that, like we talked about last episode, like it gets a little treacherous if we try to take that route with porn to see if we're doing sex right. But I do think that is a big reason why people watch it, is to measure our sex lives against the sort of like normative standard. What are other reasons people watch sex or watch porn?
Tess is a lot where it's like sex is all around us all the time, but we're not really talking about it directly. And I always like to look at the Instagram algorithm as the perfect sort of microcosm of this, because you probably experience this too, Eve, where we'll try to promote some of our stuff and we have to like take out a vowel and it's like SX, or it's very challenging to talk openly about the topic.
Yes.
However, like a lot of what makes Instagram's algorithm go around are like half naked people looking super hot and posing suggestively. And so there's just this kind of, to me, it's like such a beautiful portrait of society's kind of attitudes towards sex, where it's want it, be driven by it. It's a huge part of this whole machine, but it's like it's subtext. We can't really talk about it. We can't really look at it. We can only go so far. And porn offers access to something that isn't really in anywhere else, where you get to see people having sex. You get to, I don't know, just like really experience what that could look like, or different. it's no wonder that people go to it for sex ed, because you do have access to all of this stuff that's like really hard to get information on otherwise. Like schools aren't going to talk about that. Parents aren't going to talk about that. And
Yes.
they shouldn't necessarily. Like,
Yeah.
but there's this whole body of questions that people are going to have, and porn is the best answer that we have for some of those things.
I also think on that note of just having access to this content, to this stuff that you don't see just day to day, like walking around, you like when you watch people having good sex, it's like they're so free. They're so lost in it. And like it's like this transformative thing when you watch that and you realize, oh, I'm seeing someone experience something like so profound for them, or so pleasurable and so good. It like pulls you in this way that is beyond just like rote curiosity, and like taps you into something like very freeing and like liberating. Orgasm, it's like the little death, right? It's like you literally lose yourself and lose sense of time and space for whatever period of whatever, how many seconds. And so when you get to see that, it gets kind of, yeah, it's like hypnotizing in a way. And so I feel like there's just this sort of magic around like watching, getting to see sex and like getting to see something that just is like humans engaging with each other on a very different level, almost like spiritually, even though not all porn is like that.
Good, not the porn I watch and stuff. Right. But I love that you mentioned fantasies, because it's a really great way for you to be able to like explore the fantasies that you're afraid to even talk about with your partner. Right. And you can watch those fantasies being had in front of your very eyes. And maybe at some point when you feel more comfortable in the relationship, you can share that sexy porn that really turns you on with your partner and say, hey, is this something that you would like to ever try? So it can be an opening for a conversation.
Yeah, definitely. We like to say that the fantasies don't always equal desire. So sometimes you watch porn and you see something that you like and you want to try to incorporate it into your partnered sex. And other times you see something and you're like, I don't ever want to do that, but I really just want to watch it. And that's totally okay too. So porn can be this place where you just go tap into the things that you're never going to realize and like intentionally never realize. I think that can bring up a lot of concern for people if they're like, why do I like this thing that maybe if I tried to bring that into my life would cause some harm in my relationships, or is a little taboo, or is like really hard logistically to organize. Like I think people can feel like stress around the stuff that turns them on, but I think it's important for us to share that it's totally okay to just have stuff live in your fantasy land, and you don't need to stress about that. No one ever has to know. Yeah. And it never has to become like part of your real life world. Like it can just live in your mind, and there's something really freeing about that.
And you can draw things from things, like you can draw more information about your own desires from the things that you fantasize about but might not want to have happen. So say you really like to watch a gangbang, or like a lot of like or something that's really like more edgy, violent, and you don't let's just stick with the gangbang. Let's just say you like the idea of having like fun people fuck you. Okay, you want 20 people just coming and railing you back to back. You love watching that, but you're like, how am I going to coordinate 20 people's schedules? Is there a doodle big enough for this? What are we going to do?
You got to get craft services involved. It's like a whole...
They got each other. What if one of them's late and it fucks up the order? Oh my gosh.
What do we bring to the party? Should we all bring a dish to like have a meal afterwards? You know,
what if everybody brings cheese cubes and that's all that we have to eat? Or too much cheese,
and then everyone's farting. No, but
no dairy, no dairy. I draw the line at dairy. That's a boundary. No dairy.
No dairy. The gangbang is a shame. I love something in our workshop. I think we mentioned this maybe last episode. Like we have a workshop about voicing your desires, and a lot of what we'll talk about in that is not only how you want to be touched or fucked or whatever, but like how you like to feel during sex. And so I think, at least for me, if I look at something like thinking a gangbang is hot, I can say, okay, no, if I actually want to actualize this, but what about that is appealing to me? Is it the novelty of having different people? Is it like the sensory element of having a bunch of different like bodies pressed against mine? Or is it that I like want to feel powerless or used or like overtaken? Or you can get a little heady about it and break down the pieces of what that media is showing you in porn and start to learn or get clues about like other ways you might want to play with those dynamics. So if you like feeling powerless, maybe you don't organize 20 men to come fuck you, but you tell your partner, I really think it'd be like, I want to feel powerless. Like maybe a safe way to play with that is to feel like pinned against the wall or taken by surprise or held down or fill in the blank of whatever feels good to you. But
Right, or tied down or something like that. Yeah.
yeah, like
Absolutely.
there's so much you can learn from just learning the shade that you like.
Yeah. And incorporate that into your partnered sex, like she's saying. And I think in order for that to work, though, both / all partners have to come to these conversations with a really open mind, because one of you could say, hey, I have this thing that I've been thinking about, or this thing that I've been watching in porn, and I don't want to do that exactly, but like I'm learning some stuff about myself and I want to try it with you. Can we watch this together and I can tell you what's hot about it?
Yeah.
Both people, all people have to be ready to just have an open mind and hear what their person has to say, because it can also be like a little startling maybe to have your partner show you this like gangbang mashup compilation video.
And Miss Mojo presents.
Yeah, exactly. I think because porn is this taboo topic, a lot of us have this sort of knee-jerk reaction to it. And so there's so much that you can learn about your partner if you're willing to like have those squirmy conversations about what they're into and watch the porn that they bring to you. And you don't have to love it. You don't have to want to watch it yourself, but give them some time to like really share. It's scary to bring that stuff to someone. It's scary to make yourself vulnerable in that way. But I think if people can weather that together and have those conversations and not judge and not kink shame, you can get really far in some fun exploration with somebody.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. Yeah, I have something else to say, but I have so many questions to ask you.
We can go forever.
So let me ask you another question about what are some of the aspects of porn that no one really talks about? And I think that this is important to talk about too, because just like anything else, just like this show, it's edited and it's not real. You are watching people actually really have sex. Yes, that part of it is real, but editing out all of the uncomfortable, silly things or whatever that may be is something that I think about. So you want to just jump in and answer?
Yeah, I think a lot of the awkward position changes or like leg cramps or kind of water breaks or oh, you're pinching me. A lot of that stuff isn't present. And I think that can fuck with our heads about if there is a hiccup or like a hitch in a sexual encounter, which like often there are, then we can feel like we're failing in some way. And that's one for sure.
It just reminds me when in Porn Nerds, I think it's episode 5, we interview Jennifer Lyon Bell, who's this amazing filmmaker, pornographer, and she runs Blue Artichoke Films. And she was talking about how she left an ouch in one of her films. Like, I think someone was being fingered and she said, ouch. And her editor wanted her to cut it out because he was like, that kind of ruins the mood. And she's like, no, it's really important for me to show this to people that like, just because someone says ouch and you have to kind of reposition doesn't mean that it's bad sex, doesn't mean anybody did anything wrong, either the person like giving or the person who said ouch. And like they moved on to have like really great fun fingering or whatever else happened. And so I think that is part of porn that we don't see. It's part of the sex that does actually happen on set. You just don't see it because it's not part of the final product. But I think the thing that we forget with porn, I touched on this before, was just how much variety there is. So I think it's important when we're having conversations about porn, whether it's on a podcast or you're talking with your partner or your friends, to just remember that it's not like one thing, that there is a lot out there and a lot of it is going to portray sex in very different ways. And I like feel like I'm on this personal mission to break down this idea that all porn is like this, or all porn looks like this, or all porn is bad, all porn is good. And remember that there's just so much variety and that you need to really take it upon yourself to seek out the stuff that's going to make you feel good when you watch it. and maybe like validate parts of sex that some other porn won't for you. Yeah.
I think another, you said this is personal mission. I think my personal mission with it is like I don't think we talk about the kind of the way that the internet has changed porn enough.
Yes.
We say this in the show too, but it's like the space between an impulse and satisfying an impulse has just never been smaller in the history of humankind. If I wanted to buy a pair of shoes right now, I could do it in 35 seconds flat. I would just like open a tab and go for it. And I think that with people consuming porn in a way that feels out of control for them, that's handled a lot differently than people who might be like going on social media more than like in a way that feels out of control, or like online shopping in a way that feels out of control, because it's dealing with this topic of sexuality. I think Tess puts it this way, there's this packaging of the thing and then the thing itself. And that feels really important to delineate.
Yes. Go ahead. Did you want to say something else?
It's like that is people who are afraid that they're watching too much porn because maybe they're watching it every day, or they're like, I feel like they have unhealthy habits with porn. A lot of us have unhealthy habits with the internet, but that doesn't that doesn't carry the same weight as porn. And so porn is this like unequal, scary behavior, whereas scrolling Instagram or online shopping or gambling can take just as much time away from important things in our lives, money, dopamine, like whatever it is. It's just that it doesn't have the societal stigma that porn does. I think that's kind of like the part B to Kels's answer about just the internet packaging being really important to acknowledge with porn.
Absolutely. Technology can be our friend. And it is right now. We're recording this podcast in 2 different places, and it's amazing. We get to have these conversations, and then we can broadcast that like literally all over the world, which is so amazing. It also can be really addictive and all consuming. So really trying to think about how it impacts your life on a personal level is something that we all have to think about when we're consuming porn or scrolling on Instagram or any other site that you like to look at and you're constantly like staring at the screen all the time. So it's good to have a balance, because you eliminate all of the fun things in your life, you're not going to have the greatest life. So really trying to have that balance is so key. And
we didn't even get to the ethical practices on set with porn. There's still so much to talk about, but yes.
I definitely am going to have you guys back on next season, because it has been so much fun to talk to you guys. This has been a lot of fun.
Hey guys, have you heard of Goldbelly? It's this amazing site where they ship the most iconic, famous foods from restaurants across the country, anywhere nationwide. I've never found a more perfect gift than food. Goldbelly ships Chicago deep dish pizza, New York bagels, Maine lobster rolls, and even Ina Garden's famous cakes. So, if you're looking for a gift for the food lover in your life, head to goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code GIFT. That's goldbelly.com, promo code GIFT.
Hey all, I'm Jamie Lynn Sigler, a mom, actor, and advocate. I know how overwhelming it can be trying to decide which treatment is right for you. I've been there. But you should know you're not alone. You can do this. Start with some research, talk to the community, and most importantly, don't be afraid to ask your doctor questions. You might find results that speak for themselves. That's how I landed on Kesimpta. Ask your doctor if Kesimpta, ofatumumab, could be right for you. You can check out the details at kesimpta.com.
Honey Bunches of Oats es la forma perfecta de empezar el día con tu familia. Con hojuelas crujientes y miel de verdad que a los niños les encanta. Además, deliciosos trozos de granola, nueces y fruta que todos van a disfrutar. Honey Bunches of Oats es para todos. Toca el banner para saber más.
BTW, FYI. Visit Nexplanon.com RN to learn about Nexplanon. It's an adjustable implant, 68 milligrams radiopaque. Or ask your HCP IRL. Okay, TTYL.
I want to make sure that my listeners can find you. Where can we find you?
Okay, I'll try it this time.
Girl, you're so good at it.
Oh my gosh, that's so sweet. Our website is We're not sisters, but you might think so. Our website is getsquirmy.com. You'll find everything there. We'll have links out to our conversation deck, also named Get Squirmy, 90 Prompts About Sex and Intimacy to be played with friends or lovers. Have links to our audio course, Oral Hygiene, and to our podcast miniseries, Porn Nerds. Porn Nerds is also available anywhere that you get your podcast. So just search Porn Nerds and you'll see our little pictures in academic glasses with an apple. You're in the right spot.
It'll be very obvious that you click Porn Nerd.
Yeah. And follow us on Instagram. We don't really do any of the other social media stuff at this point because who's got the time?
Yes.
Please follow us on Instagram. It's @Squirm. There's some underscores, but don't worry about that. Just @Squirm. You can follow us for all of our events and other offerings.
Amazing. Thank you, ladies, so much for being on the show. And again, you can find me on pleaseme.online and reach out to me there if you want to work with me or if you have any questions about today's episode. And be sure to share this episode with your friends. This was a really fun one. We had a lot of laughs, and this was just filled with joy and fun and sexiness. So thanks a lot for being on the show again. And until next time.
Thank you so much. So fun.
So fun.
Are you looking for a sexy date? Look no further than SDC.com. SDC.com is the premier ethically non-monogamous website that is worldwide. It also hosts a wealth of information on sexuality and sexual health, and I host a free live webinar monthly on the site. You can use code 37340 for a free trial membership on me, and be sure to reach out on the site and say hello.